Alrighty, looks like we are live here. So, when people could hear me, just let me know in the comments section. Wanted to give a little. All right, already got people. Aaron, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm a little early today. I got off work early. My boss is like, "Hey, man, call it a day, Sawyer." Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Today is the closing time. Little semi-sonic action there. I think these guys one-hit wonders. I don't know. But yeah, it's closing time for Soulfinder. Don't have very many hours left. Probably less than 10 at this point in time. So I could check real quick and see how that is. So anybody who's on the fence about Soulfinder, there's 11 hours left. So we're getting to the end of the line here. I know who I want to take me home, Soulfinder. All right, so let's see. Congrats. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Let's see. Hi, all. Jim, congratulations. Yeah, so let's see. I forgot. We're closing in. We're at $31,831. We originally asked for $10,000. And currently we have 878 backers. So that's pretty good in my book in terms of asking for $10,000 and getting $32,000. And there's a lot of people to thank. Way too many. I would forget them. I probably should have just wrote them out before I came on here today. But first and foremost, obviously, my stream is acting really weird. I would like to thank Timothy Lim, because without him, this book would not exist. He literally is the artist on the book, but he's the one who introduced me to Dave Dorman, introduced me to Brett R. Smith, our colorist. Dave Dorman obviously did the cover, and Matt Weldon did the additional artwork. So everything artistically, the visual art on this book is because Tim actually had faith in me and took a chance on me. So yeah, can't thank him enough for that. Obviously, everyone who supported the book, grassroots style, can't thank you guys enough. All the different YouTube channels that had me on, including actually Ethan Van Sciver last night, had me on for like 2 hours with Clint from Sweetcast, also Downcast, the Indiegogo campaign. But I think he actually doxed himself, or he released his like personal address. So I don't know if that'll actually be live. But anyway, so last night was on with Ethan. Just Some Guy was one of the very first like huge YouTube channels to give Soulfinder a shout out. He actually did an entire video just on Soulfinder, so that was really cool. I could go on and on down the list of all the different YouTubers, and so thank you to everyone. This is just like a blanket statement. If you had me on your channel and we talked about Soulfinder, thank you very much. One of our viewers asked if it's going to be in demand. No, it actually will not. So yeah, it is officially closing time. It's actually being cut off. Tim is doing all the logistics for printing and shipping, and for budgeting purposes, he would like to have an exact number right now that he could give to everyone he needs to talk to, and so we don't have any budgetary concerns. He said, obviously, ultimately it is my project. He's like, Doug, you could override me if you want. And he told me exactly what might happen given certain circumstances. And I was just like, no, man, I trust you. You've done great with the logistics so far. I want this book to come out on time. I don't want any financial issues. I want to make sure everybody is appropriately paid. I would like to essentially make people very happy with their payments. And so that's what I'm concerned about. So yeah, it will not be in demand mode. All right, we have a decent number of people watching. Thanks again for tuning in here. Let's see. We'll go through some of the comments here. And I don't know, this stream could be like 15 minutes. It could be a half an hour. There's just, I figured I was going to do this last night. I was just going to read a couple C.S. Lewis quotes that tie in with my philosophy on the campaign, the book, and just writing in general. And then I was just going to be like, yeah, thanks again to everybody. It's been a great 2 months. And that's generally what it looks like. That's the feedback going on in the comments section here. So yeah, congrats all around. But congrats is to all of you who supported the book in some way, shape, or form. Not everybody has the financial means to support the book. So some people, they liked things on Twitter, they shared it, they retweeted it. And to me, that's outstanding. And I'm just as grateful for you guys as anybody else. Obviously, it's nice for people to back the book. I like that. But again, not everybody has the financial means to do so at this time. But in the future, speaking of Soulfinder stuff, I actually was speaking to somebody yesterday who wants to be involved in a volume 2 very much. And so we're going to make that happen. I can't wait until I could discuss that down the road. But I had a nice conversation yesterday, and I think you guys are going to be very happy with volume 2. So I'm already concentrating on volume 2, and 1 is not even done yet. So I kind of initially wanted to take a little break for a couple months maybe, and then get back to it because I have my full-time job. But it looks like now the pressure is on already for 2020, and I got to get my butt in gear. So I will be doing that. Rusty, thanks for tuning in. Rusty also interviewed me as well and actually translated the interview into Japanese with his son, if I'm not mistaken. So Swordsman100, congrats. Will you be emailing me soon then? If you are overseas or if you're an international backer, as I've said before, I will be emailing everybody who sent me an email at douglasstearns@douglasstearns.blog. I will email you once all U.S. shipping logistics are complete. So one-on-one. So international backers, as soon as U.S. is complete, then I will circle back and say, hey, are we good to go? Yes, we're good to go. All right, I got your address. I will ship it out. And then so I will do that. It's essentially on you guys internationally have a different timeline because it's there's a lot of headaches with shipping internationally, and it's expensive as well. But you will get a book. If you anyone who's international who email me at douglasstearns@douglasstearns.blog, you're getting a book. That's the bottom line. It will happen. And I guess I won't give you the exact number. So Sean Davis is here. Sean Davis. Sean, are you the one who you did Pillow Man and Blanket Boy? Is that the Indiegogo? Did I get that title correct? Sorry, I can't remember all the Indiegogo campaigns, but if so, I know that there's a campaign along those lines, so you could check out the Indiegogo. David, thanks for tuning in. 10 hours left. All right, so Sean Davis, I am. So he's got an Indiegogo campaign. And little sidetrack here. Just so you guys know, my Twitter account is tied to my work at the Washington Times. And so I'm always kind of paranoid. People will get, they're like, how come Doug doesn't share my campaign or all this sort of stuff? And the main reason is because I actually work for a newspaper. My account is tied to it. I already feel as though I'm pushing it with all my comic stuff for my own personal, my own personal project. I don't want my boss to be like, hey, Doug, maybe you should just go full-time with the comics thing. You do a lot of comic stuff. You're not doing as much newspaper stuff these days. And so it's one of those things where I want to keep my boss happy. I don't want him thinking that I'm getting too much into comics and not concentrating on my work during the day. So yeah, people are saying plop in the link in the chat. I do need a moderator. I have to find somebody to do that, but I will post that. I'm like a little one-man band here, and so I can do that. That's no problem at all. Let's see, Doug, that's right. I was the PayPal customer, but I forgot you were going to include me with them, even though I live in the U.S. Oh, okay. So yeah, if you are in the U.S. but you're using PayPal, yeah. So that's I will circle back with you, but I'm basically going to go through the order as people emailed me. So wherever you are on the list, then I will get to you. I am putting in the Soulfinder link right now. I could just randomly do that throughout for anybody who has not backed it yet, if you're interested in backing it. And yeah, like I said, I'm definitely feel like a one-man band here. I probably should get a moderator. Let's see, Soulfinder, what everything is building for. Yeah, next year. I can't wait for next year. There's gonna be, that story's already taken shape. I have a good blueprint for it. And I will probably try and knock out 2 scripts next year. I'd like to do the Vietnam era prequel as well with Reginald Crane. And that'll actually have a lot of, so this particular tale, I mean, you could tell just from the print here that I got. Actually, Tim did up this print for me as well. This one's definitely more mystery, more, it's like a horror genre, and it's not action. It's not like that sort of thing. It's more cerebral, I guess, and it's a character study. It's the introduction to these guys. But if I do a Vietnam era story, that one, I believe I'll be able to do a lot of cool action stuff with that. So this is, again, the Dave Dorman artwork. And this is what I was giving out in Texas at Bell County Comic Con. And I talked to Tim the other night. I don't think he would mind me saying this, but next year at Bell County Comic Con, if I can make it down there, I'll actually have books that I could be selling to people that come to the booth. So I would like to go to Bell County Comic Con again, and I'm sure Tim could get the booth space to have me next to him. This year, let's see, Matt Weldon was actually, his booth was right next to Tim's, which is pretty cool. And so for those that haven't checked it out in a while, Matt Weldon did some additional artwork for us. He's got that was Patrick Redder, the first one. This is Reginald Crane. Sorry, you got all the. And then here's like a Double Dragon inspired one as well. So this will all be in the bonus material that will be in the books. It's 56-page story and 8 pages of bonus material. So that's that. Let's see. Why not extend your campaign another 30 days and make a nice profit? Well, Eric, I already did. It's been going for 60 days. And so this is the 60 days. It's up. It could go into in-demand mode, but there are issues with printing where you have to give them exact numbers, and there's timelines in terms of, I want to make sure I get this book out on time or early. And if you get your numbers screwy after you give them to the printers and things, it just gets iffy, and they like to have exact numbers as soon as possible. So that's why I went with Tim, and he said, yeah, I would prefer to not go into in-demand. And so I was like, okay, I trust you. Let's see. So great. For the first time, I'm seeing Doug Ernst live. Yeah, this is just, I don't want to say impromptu. I usually like to do up little notes and things like that, but I figured I'm just saying thank you to everybody who backed the book or supported it in some way, shape, or form, even tuning into these live streams, liking it, all that sort of stuff. Everything is some form of support, and so I'm grateful for everything that you guys have given me in terms of support over the past 60 days here. I hope Dorman comes to Heroes Con again. I'd love to get my copy of Soulfinder signed by him also. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Dave, I would like to, my brother actually lives somewhat close to him, and so next time I visit my brother, I would like to reach out to Dave and see if I could buy him dinner or something. I thought I might get to see him at Bell County this year, but he was not at Bell County Comic Con. We had a nice dinner. And then Tim actually, I don't think, I'm gonna bust Tim out. We were supposed to split it with everybody, and then Tim did the thing where he tricks you, and then he actually paid for everybody's meal. That was very kind of him. So I got to get Tim back. One day I'm going to be sneaky about it, and I'm going to pay for the pay for the meal. So let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Was just listening to Raul Rise talk about how people cease to believe in demons and now a cult in our movies and TV. Interesting. Let's see. I think it was Last Decent Thought. Blah, blah. Sorry, just going through trying to catch everybody that mentioned something. Okay, mention the link, dropping the link in there. So yeah, I'll just randomly drop the link in here and there for people that want it. And I just did the webcam stream. I'll probably get Streamlabs in the near future and just pay for a yearly subscription or whatever the heck they ask you to do. It's pretty user friendly, and I don't know. So we'll see see how it goes. All right. Looks like I got through most of the comments by my side. It's 11 p.m. So it's already pretty late. Overseas, yes, indeed. Let's see. So like I said, I was just going to read a couple C.S. Lewis quotes, and I'll just kind of riff on those. I just flipped through last night. This is the quotable Lewis, and let's see what he says here. Let's see. Love and quote on love and charity says, charity means love. It is called agape in the New Testament to distinguish it from sexual love and family affection and friendship. So there are 4 kinds of love, all good in their proper place, but agape is the best because it is the kind God has for us and is good in all circumstances. So charity and a kind of love that is different from all those others, but is good in all circumstances. I tried to run my campaign for 60 days in a way where anybody who was thinking about backing Soulfinder Demons match would be like, even if it's subconscious, even if they don't know it, they would be like, I feel as though there's the old agape that's coming through the screen. This guy actually cares about his supporters. He cares about people that are on the fence. He even cares about people that hate his guts. And so I tried my best to run a professional campaign. I tried to steer clear of people that were trying to goad me into all sorts of, I just think you're a tool. A lot of people think I'm a tool. So, but anyway, I lost my train of thought. So I tried to steer clear of individuals that were trying to goad me into an argument. I tried to pivot back to the book and all that sort of stuff. And so hopefully that actually came through in the way that I ran the campaign. Let's see, that C.S. Lewis quote reminds me the videos of the Fourth Age. Ever heard of him? Yes, I've randomly commented on his videos from time to time. He does great content on comic books. His video on the origins of evil is a must watch. Yeah, these days I don't get to see too many channels. I watch Just Some Guy, and basically, if you were, I watch Wes from Thinking Critical. Those are two of my favorite channels right now. There are others, of course, but those are the 2 that I like really. Oh, actually, Sweetcast is another one. I was tuning into his live stream last night, and actually, Sweetcast just did a video that was, why are people all of a sudden focused on YouTube again, and it had Mark Zaid in it and stuff like that. So yeah, Sweetcast, Just Some Guy, and Wes from Thinking Critical. Those are probably my top 3 these days. And then obviously there's a whole slew of others that I check out on a regular basis. And so yeah, all right, let's see. Watch Just Some Guy. Don't watch Just Some Guy. Heard he is a borderline white supremacist. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? Okay, I covered love. Let's see, go through. I put a couple little markers here. Let's see where we got. What else we got? Sin. So Soulfinder Demons match. We're going to cover sin here. And let's see. And if you're not religious, you'll just stick with me for a second. All right. So for there are 2 things inside me competing with the human self, which I must try to become. They are the animal self and the diabolical self. The diabolical self is the worst of the 2. That is why a cold, self-righteous prig who goes regularly to church may be far nearer to hell than a prostitute. But of course, it is better to be neither. So you're like, Doug, how does that tie into your campaign? I don't even get what you're saying. The answer is because there's a diabolical Doug and there's an animal Doug inside me, And when people say mean things to me on YouTube or Twitter or wherever, those guys want to get out, and they want to say something. They want to do something. And so over the course of 60 days, if you run a campaign, if you do a YouTube channel, people are going to say some things to you that are going to make you angry, and they're going to want to bring out the diabolical Doug or whatever. And so I have tried my best to starve Diabolical Doug for 60 days. Again, it ties into my first. Hopefully that came through in the campaign. He exists, but I do my best to starve him. And hopefully one day, Diabolical Doug and Animal Doug will die a grisly death. But my guess is they won't. They'll always be there. Unleash the Diabolical Doug. No, he used to exist. He used to be around quite a bit, and he's not a nice guy. He's actually a mean guy. And my wife was like, she was talking to me because we've been together since 2002, and she was like, "What would you say if you like met your younger self? If you like went back in time, would you guys get along?" And I was like, "No, I'd want to beat him up. I'd really want to fight him or something." And she's like, "I think you would be frenemies, basically." And but I was like, "No, I would not like him at all. He would really annoy the heck out of me." So yeah, there's an Animal Doug. You're not a furry. No, I am not. I'm not a furry. But yeah, I don't want to go into that route. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully I have run my campaign in a way where it is consistent with what I have preached for roughly 10 years on WordPress, on Twitter, sometimes Instagram, and obviously YouTube. I did not want to be labeled a hypocrite for saying like, "Hey, Mark Wade behaves in this particular way," then what the heck? And then if I behaved like Mark Wade, what would be the point of me railing against the industry and the way it is if I was just acting like Mark Wade? It wouldn't make any sense. Let's see. Fatty asks about signed books. I think all of the signed books, there were the original 58, and then there was the encore that I think was like 30. I'm losing track of my own campaign here. Let's see, the encore, I believe that sold out yesterday. 39 of 39. So all of these signed books are, they already sold out. So, but long story short, if you ever order a book and you want it to get it signed by me, we could figure something out, some way, shape, or form. But in terms of ordering these signed copies, those are all sold out. And the reason why they were limited is because it's signed by the entire team. It's myself, Brett, and Tim. It comes with a Dave Dorman card that's not signed, but it's myself, Brett, and Tim. We all have to fly to one location with the books, sign them all, and then we're going to split them up, go back home, and then each of us will take basically a third of the books. So imagine traveling with dozens of books. It gets a little, logistically, it gets a little weird. And so that's one of the reasons why we sort of limited it. And like I said, my main concern on this particular campaign was I did not want to fall on my face. I didn't want to be late on anything. I tried my best to give Tim as much time as he needed, to give Brett as much time as he needed. Obviously, Dave Dorman, we got with Dave probably like 7 months in advance. And so everybody had as much time as they needed to do the work that they felt reflected their best effort. And I know for a fact that Tim and Brett have given 100%, 110% to this project. So let's see here. Going through Sweet Castle, all right. Release the Hound, somebody says. Nah, I can't do that. There's an Animal Doug. Let's see, signed books. My face is already kind of furry, halfway there, indeed. Put any of your blood in the ink. That way we could clone our own Doug. Yeah, that would be creepy. Congratulations, Doug. You're going places now, says Scott Pickering. Well, we're definitely going places with Soulfinder Demons match. As I said at the start of this live stream, 2020 is already taking shape, and it looks like the team is coming together, and so cool things will be announced down the road. But yeah, I'm very happy with where things are going. So let's see. One more C.S. Lewis quote here. Then I'll answer any other questions you have. And like I said, I didn't want to have this turn into like a long rambling sort of thing. I really just wanted to say thanks. Answer any final questions you had about the book, about the campaign, whatever's on your mind. Then I would sign out. I may or may not be on a stream with Ethan tonight. I'm not sure. If so, that's cool. If not, then I will probably just begin another Mark Wade video, because Mark Wade, he erased a bunch of stuff on his Facebook page again, and he's just the gift that keeps on giving. And if you're going to go after just some guy, I'm going to do videos on you, and that's the way it's going to be. So what was it? A year ago? I'm losing track of time. Like May 2018, he was going after Richard. I'm going to seriously do videos on Mark Wade for that. And now he's going after just some guy, calling him a borderline white supremacist. The big guns are coming out for Mark Wade when you go after just some guy, because just some guy has been very, very good to me. We'll just put it that way, in terms of promoting my channel over the years, giving me words of encouragement, and promoting Soulfinder. So super cool guy. And I probably shouldn't say this, but if you are a fan of just some guy, there may or may not be an Easter egg-ish sort of hat tip to just some guy in Soulfinder Demons Match. May or may not be. So just some guy even made a video for Soulfinder. Indeed, yeah, that's like I was just saying. He didn't need to do that. And it was like literally like this like 7-minute video or something, and it was just really, really cool, and actually a bit touching, I must say. Let's see. All right, so C.S. Lewis. Will there be any way to buy the book after the campaign? I am definitely going to work on that, and there is. I have to be careful here. There's something that's in the works, but I can't say anything until late in the game. So long story short, yeah, it will be available, and hopefully, if things go our way, I'll have some pretty cool announcements down the line. That's the best I could say right now. And then obviously with Volume 2, I will make additional. My goal is to make additional copies of the print version, the first one available. Maybe there'll be like a double sort of thing going on. And then I would like to ultimately do 3 and put them together into one book. And maybe by that time, if enough people are happy, we raise enough funds, I could actually do a hardcover, hardbound book. That's what I would like to do. I know those are really expensive. Tim was talking to me about them this time, and he was just like, dude, we can't do a hardbound for this one. It's because I basically wanted to have the best quality book possible in terms of the physical book itself. And so that this time around, it's not going to happen. But the goal was to be, besides Doug TeNaples' Bigfoot Bill, we wanted to have the best quality book out there in terms of the actual physical copy, the bindings and all that sort of stuff, the paper stock, all that sort of thing. That was the goal. And I was like, I don't care how much money I have to spend. Just make sure it's super high quality. Let's see. The supervillain of the internet has arrived. Oh, awesome. Congrats on the campaign. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the kind words. The supervillain of the internet, even though somebody who definitely influenced my channel early on, and we both sort of like back and forth. Those were the good old days. So in many ways that I've said before, I can't even comprehend. People like the good captain, they are actually responsible for Soulfinder taking shape the way it has. So I don't know exactly the percentage, but it's in there somewhere. Let's see, kind of like what Graveyard Shift is doing, we'll be keeping my eyes open. It's nice, I appreciate it, Ben. All right, so let's see, C.S. Lewis. This is on writing in general. He says, let's see, blah, blah, blah. I am sure that some are born to write, as trees are born to bear leaves. For these, writing is a necessary mode of their own development. If the impulse to write survives the hope of success, then one is among these. If not, then the impulse was at best a pardonable vanity, and it will certainly disappear when the hope is withdrawn. So, that's sort of related to the campaign, sort of not. But I've said before that I'm a writer by vocation. I've known since I was basically in middle school that I wanted to be a writer. And even, I don't think my mom would get too upset with me saying this, but my mom back in the day, she said, how do I say this? My mom wasn't a big fan of me saying that I wanted to be a writer. And but even with that, I was like, no, I'm going to be a writer. And I've said before that even if I went back to working retail, I used to work at Target after I got out of the military and I was saving money for college and that sort of stuff. If I went back to retail, as long as I was writing in my off hours, then I would be happy. So one of the things that I wanted to bring to this independent indie comics movement is somebody that really cares about the craft of writing. I'm not dissing anybody else's story per se, but I felt as though there was a disproportionate sort of emphasis on the art at the expense of the story at time. Again, I am biased. I am a writer, so totally get it. Hopefully Clint is in my camp here. I don't know. But I wanted to bring some sort of balance to the force or something along those lines where I wanted the writing to be really strong. I wanted the art to be super strong. Obviously, I wanted someone like Brett R. Smith and his color work, bring him to the table, have an awesome cover, and just have an entire package, pound for pound, have a really good book. So, and then bring in, for like I said, the bonus material, bring in guys like Matt Weldon, who, I mean, how can you argue with Matt Weldon? Guy's awesome. So that was my goal. And so if you're wondering about the writing quality, I hope I put 110% into it. Just like I said, Tim and Brett and Dave and Matt all gave 100%, and I couldn't be happier with everybody. And the past 2 months have been basically like a dream come true. Not a nightmare, a very pleasant dream. So, all right, guys, do you have any other questions regarding Soulfinder, the team in general, the book, logistics, anything about the future? If so, let me know, and I will answer. And let's see, answering. Good evening. All right, Pope Size, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Pretty excited about this book. It says the Zeppo 1138. Thanks, I appreciate it. Let's see here where we're at. Refresh things. And all right, we got a couple new backers as I've been talking. So we're at $31,889 with 880 backers, 10 hours left. Very cool. Let's see. Rusty says Japanese manga are heavy on story. Story is very important, to say the least. Yeah, when I was talking, I may have said this before, but when I was talking to Tim early on in the process, he was like, if it's like a car, the artist is like the exterior of the car, and the writer is like the engine or whatever, or the gasoline that goes into the tank. And if you don't have a good writer, then you just have a pretty car that sits in the driveway and it can't go anywhere. And so I thought that was a pretty nice analogy. And but that was the other thing with our team. And one of the things that I like about Tim is that, how do I say it? Everybody on our team, it's like we all view each other as equals, and we all view each other as having our own special skill set that we bring to the table. So Tim's art is obviously great, and people from that very first opening page, when they saw that, they were like, "Holy cow, that's Tim's art. That's like he's tweaked his style a little bit. It's not what we saw on like the Trump Space Force book, or even like a Black Hops." And so that stood out to people. Then when they saw Brett's color work on top of it, I really like when you put them, like you juxtapose Brett's version with Tim's version, so you could see how good Tim's work is, but then you could see just how much Brett brings to the table as well. And so having a team where everybody just sort of respects everybody else's talents, and then it's just, I don't know, it's like a puzzle, and if you get all the pieces right, they all just come together. And I think we got something pretty cool here. I still have to write the afterword, and I will probably do that this weekend since I won't be doing stuff with the campaign or whatever. So I actually have like a week here or a weekend where I could sit down and write a very nice afterword for everybody. So let's see. Rusty says Matt's art is great. Yeah, Matt's art is great, and I would agree. And I met him down in Texas when I went to Bell County Comic Con, and he was a super nice guy. So if you didn't know already from your interactions with him on Twitter, he's just a really, really nice guy, and I'm super happy to have him on the team. And he did a great job with all of the bonus art, which sold out very quickly. Let's see. 'Tis a good day on the internet. Tumblr sold for $3 million. Oh man, only a $1. Wow, that's crazy. Go woke, go broke. That's funny. $3 million for Tumblr. Interesting. You worked as a team, a collective unit. No egos necessary. Yeah, that was one of the cool things about this particular team, is that everybody was just sort of doing their thing and giving their best, and there were creative challenges along the way, as there's going to be with any particular book, but everyone just handled it really, really well. And I've mentioned this before. Mark Pellegrini got an early draft. Professor Geek got an early draft, and my buddy, my friend Mike McNulty. So he did work at Spider-Man Crawl Space for a long time. So anyone who's read Mike's reviews of the Amazing Spider-Man over the years, you've seen him pop up on different CBR. He's gotten into it with Dan Slott from time to time, although Dan can't lay a glove on him because Mike's just like another one of these dudes. He's just like super, super nice and super, super tactful. If you don't like Mike, then there's kind of something wrong with you, I think, because he's just a really good dude. So anyway, I gave it to a bunch of guys that I really respected, and they were sharp dudes, and got feedback from them, and so they helped sort of give me ideas of where I needed to build on things, make things a little bit more meatier, and I don't know. I'm happy with where we're at. Let's see. Doug's always had an earnestness about him. No pun intended. Somebody was complaining recently. Like I was too serious. I'm trying to remember who said it. But my last name literally means serious. So I was like, actually, my name literally means serious. So yes, I am a serious person. But so let's see. Will Soulfinder get a publisher, a bit like Jawbreakers? That was supposed to be published by Antarctic Press. Also, I miss McNulty. Hope to see you both on a video again. Yeah, I will try and get him involved. Does Soulfinder have a publisher? Stay tuned. That's the best. That's the best I could say right now. I can't say anything for sure, but maybe. We'll see. If I had my magic 8-ball out and I shook it up and I looked at it, it would say, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get myself in trouble or anything, but I think we have a really good shot. Timothy Lim on art, Matt Weldon additional art, Dave Dorman cover, and if my writing is, I don't know, decent, if I don't completely drop the ball on the story, I think certain publishers would be, I don't know, I would publish it. if I'm trying to step outside myself and be objective about things here, I would publish it. Seems like a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see. We shall see. Let's see. No downvotes on this video. Somebody will. Mark Wade is slipping up. There's somebody on my videos these days, whenever I do an actual video, within like 30 seconds, there's a downvote. So somebody hate watches my normal videos. The past few, it's like, I maybe not 30 seconds, but we'll say like a minute. Before you could definitely watch the video, there's usually a downvote on there. It's Max Bemis. That's from the comments section. Who knows? Max, Dan Slott, Mark Wade. There's actually a couple people that have been pseudo stalking me over the course of many years, but I don't usually talk about them. I don't mention their names, but there's some creepy people out there that do not like me. Put it that way. Let's see, Pope Size. And I don't know what SEK50. Thank you for the super chat. If it will be self-published, you could call it Earnestly Comics. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in addition to Brett R. Smith, on top of everything else, I don't know. I believe that I got a rock solid team going on. So let's see. Okay, so I don't know who this guy is. We will not. We have one person who's very interesting. So I told you there's somebody that hate watches, and so he will go away. Bye. The hate watcher showed up briefly, so he's gone now. All right. You need a mod. No, I actually don't mind. Yeah, I do need a mod, but I actually kind of think it's funny for the most part. So I just laugh. Oh, Swedish. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's funny that I mentioned people that were like pseudo cyber stalking me, and then that guy showed up. It was like he was like, I'm the guy, or whatever, and then he like came out. So, oh, as I mentioned, so I'm assuming he's still watching. Maybe he missed earlier. We'll read C.S. Lewis again, just for him. Talking about sin, for there are two things inside me competing with the human self, which I must try to overcome. They are the animal self and the diabolical self. The diabolical self is the worst of the two. That is why a cold, self-righteous prig who goes regularly to church may be far nearer to hell than a prostitute. But, of course, it is better to be neither. I mentioned myself. I got the animal inside me. I got the diabolical Doug inside me. We all do. But our friend there he went away. He was letting the animal self and the diabolical self rear its head, or their head, whatever you want to call it. So look inside yourself, sir. This is a positive stream. All right, let's see. What is the C.S. Lewis book you are reading? This is the Quotable Lewis, C.S. Lewis. And I got this at Barnes & Noble not too long ago. And let's see. It'll set you back $24.99. But you might be able to get it on a discount. Sometimes they have stuff like this on a discount. You can get it for like $10. And it's a good deal. So I like to have the physical copies of stuff like this. Diabolical Doug is great. Is a great name for a supervillain. When I was a kid, my next door neighbor, a friend of mine, used to call me Daring Doug. Because if you dared me to do something, there was a good chance I would do it. And so yeah, Doug, have you read who's Space Trilogy? Who am I looking at? Let's see. Just curious. Are there any big two comics you'd like to write someday? I said before that if I was ever offered Spider-Man, I would take it in a heartbeat. Obviously, Iron Man and Daredevil. So you gave me Iron Man. I will read Iron Man for sure. And actually, I almost debated doing a video on the old Iron Man. And like, if you look at how they draw Tony back in the day, I mean, he was definitely a man's man. When you see him back then, he was clearly, this is a guy that you would like to be someday. And then when you compare it to Dan Slott's Tony Stark, who's riding like a little tiny scooter. No, actually, he was the passenger on the scooter. He wasn't even riding the scooter. He was the passenger on a scooter. It's just not the same. So yeah, if you asked me if I wanted to write Spidey, I would do that, and obviously Iron Man. I would really like to write Tony Stark as well. Let's see. As far as Tolkien, we're talking about Tolkien there for a second. Whatever the space trilogy question is, the answer, I don't even need to know what book it was. Looking through the comments, the answer is no, because I generally, C.S. Lewis's space trilogy. No, so I have not. Somebody mentioned that to me the other day, I believe, and I probably should do that. I'm generally not a huge anything in outer space for the most part. That's never really been my thing. I like I said, the Daredevil, Spidey. I liked when Spidey was more of like a street level sort of guy, almost. I didn't really like when Spidey officially became an Avenger, and I don't know. I like Spidey alone. I like a more street level. Spidey as an Avenger is just not really. I mean, it's still Spider-Man, but don't get me wrong. But I like those guys that exist. Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, all that sort of stuff, quite a bit. Alrighty. The Tolkien books. Actually, for the most part, my Tolkien books are relegated to the Hobbit books, actually. Let's see, Gang War, that was a great Hobgoblin story arc. Yeah, totally agree. Speaking of Lewis, have you heard the radio acting of Screwtape Letters? I have not, but Screwtape Letters is awesome. Check it out if you haven't. Daredevil by Miller, Bendis, and Brubaker. Nascenti are my favorite comics. Yeah, well, definitely can't. Those are. I will definitely agree with Miller and Brubaker for sure. And Bendis is on and off for me. Sometimes. Definitely not current Bendis, but yeah, years ago, Bendis, Daredevil, there were some that I was on board with. Let's see, what about the Wolverine Spider-Man team up? You like or dislike? I like when I haven't read them recently, but from my youth, the Wolvie Spidey team ups, I was definitely a fan of those. I don't know if that's because my age, I'm blinded. I have my kid goggles on, and I just liked it because I don't know if I would like it if I revisited it today. But I do like from time to time when you have somebody like Peter who has to be paired up with a Punisher type character or a Wolverine type character. You get that nice sort of dichotomy between the different methods, and they could butt heads a little bit, but ultimately come together to save the day. That sort of thing. So, yeah. But to answer the earlier question again, Spidey, Daredevil, Iron Man, those are the ones that, if down the line Marvel just sort of imploded and they started farming out the IPs, and maybe it was to IDW, maybe it was to somebody else, and some way I finagled my way into writing Spider-Man, even though people at Marvel would never want me near it. I would definitely give that my all and try and give people some super memorable stories. That would be the goal. But for the time being, I'm perfectly happy with Soulfinder. And yeah, I think, like I said, 2020 is on its way. And yeah, can't wait to announce some things. it's one of those things where it's like I want to just say certain things now, but I can't for a number of reasons. So there's a lot of cool things going down and that will be revealed in the months to come. I would love Doug to write Spidey. Yeah, like I said, that would be cool. Did you read Weapon X from 1991? It was a slasher story with Wolverine as the killer, and the story was told through the eyes of one of the soldiers sent to kill him. I did not. So basically, for my entire life, I've read Spidey and Daredevil and Iron Man. My brother was a big X-Men fan. He had the X Factor books as well. He had Wolverine books. So sometimes I would read his stuff. My oldest brother, he liked the same stuff I did, but he also got Captain America. And then he would also get random independent books. And then my sister, she actually liked Silver Surfer. So sometimes I would read the Silver Surfer because my sister was into Silver Surfer. My oldest brother also liked the G.I. Joe comics. And anything with like the military. He got like the Nam. And he liked stuff like that in the 80s. I believe my brother probably would have went into the military, but he has recurrent kidney stones, and he's had them since he was in high school. So I think that caused a problem, and he couldn't go into the military. But he would have been perfect. He would have been a great officer, I believe. But just when you're getting kidney stones like every 6 months, then it's not going to work out. Let's see. I would like Doug to write a G.I. Joe adventure. I think he could give a good story. I would be perfectly happy in writing a G.I. Joe book. That would be pretty cool. Or Captain America. I would like to write Captain America. I might as well just say the entire Marvel catalog at this point. Speaking of Spidey, any opinion on Spider-Man 9/11? That book left a mark for me. Yeah, I got to be careful. I get weird when I talk about I get weird when I talk about 9/11. So since I'm on a live stream, I will avoid doing that. But yeah, in many respects, a very good. I'll save that for another time. So there's some stuff about it that is a little weird to me in terms of Doctor Doom and guys like that, and Magneto. I don't know. Suddenly they went from megalomaniacs to suddenly helping out at Ground Zero or whatever. So that's a little, but the underlying sentiment, what they were trying to get across, is yeah, it was a good sentiment, and it was for the time. It was the right thing. So yeah. How would you portray Snake Eyes? Interesting. So. Well, I don't want to say this is a cop-out answer per se, but one of the things that anybody, I don't want to get into the Aubrey Sitterson stuff and all that sort of, the IDW. So it doesn't matter whether it's Snake Eyes, Spider-Man, Iron Man. I always would go to the source material or the classic runs. I would digest all of those runs, and then you say, okay, where is this character now? How do I best honor essentially the core of the character while also kind of propelling him into the future? And all of us sort of like over time, we grow as individuals, we change here and there, but ultimately, for the most part, your core is kind of always going to be the same. I shouldn't say all the time, people... But for the most part, yeah, like I said, Peter Parker is Peter Parker, Tony Stark is Tony Stark, and they're not going to all of a sudden overnight become Doctor Doom, like I was saying. So I would go to classic sort of runs on a character, and then from there, I would say, okay, what made this person resonate with so many people? Why do people love this character? What is it that I could sort of, if it's receded at some point in time into the background, I could pull it back out and make it shine, that sort of thing. So that's what I would try to do with any character. It doesn't matter who it is. And I don't believe that that's what's going on in today's comics. Someone says, anime or manga you've watched lately? I don't watch anime or manga. My wife does. She watches a lot, and but I should probably just have her on a stream. People said before if she had her own channel, she would overtake mine in like a month, which is probably true. So my wife watches a lot of anime and manga, but I don't. And actually, I honestly, with the Soulfinder campaign going over the past 2 months, in addition to my regular job, I have not had time for. I'm even behind on my comics and reading comics. Although Captain Cummings, when I was down in Texas, did give me this Batman issue, and I did read this the other day. And this was from, what year was this? 1990. So solid issue. Thank you, Captain Cummings. I appreciate it. That was pretty cool. I said also, for those that didn't, Captain Cummings also gave me this as well, graded 9.8. So if he's still in the chat, thanks for tuning in, man. And thanks for the gift. This was free of charge. He just pulled it out and was, someone's going to take that. He just pulled out the comic book and he gave it to me. So, so thank you very much, Captain Cummings. All right. Let's see. Just make sure he never speaks. That's one of the core aspects of his. Oh yeah, yeah. We're talking about Snake Eyes again. Since his vocal cords are burned. Yeah. That's a note. Not. I would not make Snake Eyes speak. So, let's see. Someone says that was really cool, Captain Cummings. Yep. Yeah. No, that was very nice. I was talking about how when I was growing up, I loved the Secret Wars stuff. I even had the little the figures and all that. And he was like, "Well, I have this. You want it?" And he just gave it to me. So that was cool. Let's see. I love the bit where Spidey sees Cap standing at Ground Zero, and the caption, "He's seen this before." JMS did that bit well. They're talking about the 9/11 Spider-Man issue, and yeah, JMS, when he was on, he was definitely on. I thought that he got the heart and soul of Peter really well, and around that period of time, that's when Peter was actually a high school science teacher, if I'm not mistaken, and I really liked the idea of Peter being a high school science teacher a lot. And the issue where Aunt May finds him, and she basically says that she's always known that he was Spider-Man. He's in the bed, and he's all beaten up, and he's all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a great issue as well. But we won't get into the Spider Totem stuff or the Gwen stuff and the Devil deal, which that was kind of foisted upon him by editorial, and so that's a whole other video. We won't get into that. Let's see. People are saying Endgame is an ambitious crossover, but imagine if they did Secret Wars as a movie. That would be interesting as well, but these days I'm not so psyched on the MCU. So, all right, guys. I think it's about 3 o'clock my time, and I think I'm going to run out and I'm going to get some food, and then I'm going to come back, and then I will probably start. I'll get you talking about Joey Q Casada in the chat. Don't get me started. I'll go on for another hour. But yeah, so I really just wanted to thank everybody for supporting Soulfinder Demons Match over the past couple months. Like I said, I was just messing with you, Scott, with the Joey Q stuff. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in now. Thanks to everyone who's supported the project for 60 days. Thanks to Timothy Lim, Brett R. Smith, Dave Dorman, Matt Weldon. Trying to think of everybody who's had me on their channels. Like I said before, whether it was just some guy or EVS or Wes from Thinking Critical. There's too many channels to think about. It's one of those things where it's like you're going to miss people and they're going to be like, well, Doug. And so I apologize for that. There's been Nerdette's Newsstand, Clint, Matt, and with the Matriarchy stream. And yeah, like I said, I'm blanking right now. And some of the channels, they have like names that's just like I forget them or whatever. But thank you to everybody. I will be back with a new video in the very near future, and it will be on Mark Wade because he deleted much of his Facebook again. So the Mark Wade video will be coming soon, and people are saying cheers. I appreciate it. Again, I'll see you guys later, and yeah, see ya.